we're going to try to do this in a little bit of a podcast style. Andrew and I both seldom run out of words, and so we're just going to kind of riff off of each other here and you. So please feel free to jump into the conversation, come off mute and chat. Feel free to throw out questions, throw out ideas, effusive praise, calls of bunk. Any of those are just fine in the context here. So the session title is "What Color is Your Parachute?" It has a reference to the idea that sometimes you get into a situation where you jump off a cliff and you are sewing your parachute on the way down and trying to get it done before you hit. And and that can be the case for replatforming projects in the ERP space, that you jump off, you get started, and you don't realize just how desperate a situation you may be in until the ground is rushing up. So we're hoping here. Hi, Patricia, that worked. So thanks for contributing. Yes, we've got the Pathable chat's working great. So we're going to be going over some of the things that you could do before you jump that will hopefully keep the sudden stop at the end from being as drastic as it could be.
We would have to, I think, pivot this to a true crime podcast. The parachute didn't open.
Right.
Somebody's behind that. Somebody didn't pack that parachute.
Yeah,
we'll find out who it is.
That's right. Well, I think that that enterprise projects like this don't need intentional sabotage
That's right.
to go wrong. So plenty of ways to go wrong. And these are a few of the ways to begin with here, a few bullets of ways that they can go wrong. And rest assured, we'll spend most of our time today talking about what can go right. But if you want more thoughts, just broad ideas about SaaS migrations, this is actually the third installment of a trilogy of sessions that we've done here on the topic. We had a session on Tuesday that was PeopleSoft, SaaS, and Cloud and You, something like that, that started it out. And then there was an unintended consequences of SaaS migrations this morning. So if you like what you hear here, or you want to figure out a little more what we're talking about, feel free to go back and review those sessions. But yeah, one of the thoughts that I've been thinking, and Andrew, maybe you can speak to this. How important is it for an organization? How hard is it for an organization to keep up a habit or a practice of continuous innovation? Sorry, Andrew, that was a question for you.
Oh, that was for me.
that was the T-ball. Yeah. What is it? What's it like for organizations to try to keep innovating, to not get derailed from innovation?
Well, I think it's very difficult, right? I think many of these SaaS projects, people are going into them thinking, I have to, versus innovation, they're thinking about, I want to. And oftentimes I have to gets in the way of I want to. But we have to understand that, generally speaking, especially in the HCM world, there's really no HCM SaaS migration project that has a justifiable ROI, right? You're really moving from one record-keeping system to another. It's not going to save you money. So if in parallel you let I have to get in the way of I want to, all those opportunities to generate ROI, they've gone to zero. It's a treacherous path that you definitely have to be careful of. And it's not easy for organizations because they want to be all in on I have to. They want to get I have to done. They want to be successful because those budgets can overrun quite quickly. Right. But there is some kind of hidden cost there as well if you're over-focused.
I think both Andrew and I, our careers in PeopleSoft have mostly been focused on the I want to stuff, on the innovation stuff. We've at GT, we've historically been focused on business process automation and implementing electronic form automation, extending PeopleSoft. Andrew's crew has been user experience focused. Intracy has been there for a long time, both in web look and feel and in conversational UI, chatbot, digital assistant technology. So we kind of, maybe we're biased, but we see a huge amount of the value of the enterprise space being that you treat innovation like a sacred fire and you tend it and you keep it going and you never let it run out. And one of the challenges of replatforming projects is that they consume all the resources available, and it's really difficult to innovate. And they can consume all the resources for quite a while, for years.
Right. And Paul, I think we have to be very careful that we don't let, we all wave this flag, no customizations, decustomize. We have to be careful to understand that doesn't mean don't solve your unique challenges. That doesn't mean don't do things better, don't do things more cheaply. That's not what no customizations means.
Right. It means don't, and I prefer the term modifications, no modifications.
Yeah.
Don't modify delivered objects from PeopleSoft. It doesn't mean don't build your own or don't build extensions or et cetera. So another, and that leads to another bullet, expecting the new platform to solve all your problems is unrealistic. And of course, going into a big project, you want to have high expectations. You want to get a lot out of it, and but unrealistic expectations can be a problem. Most of the replatforming is going to be trying to get it to do at the minimum of what your system already does. You're not going to have time to in that project to solve all the problems that you've always had. And that leads to the idea that business process transformation is its own task, and the effort that you need to do it right isn't necessarily baked into a re-implementation project. And unrealistic expectations of the replatforming project increase risk and exposure. So Andrew, have you seen that in terms of people going in expecting more out of a replatforming project than they actually got?
Yeah, I think many people go in and they think, okay, well, we're going modern. It's going to be easier to use and it's going to be better. And even though, many organizations I've seen are routinely saying, well, look, we can't customize. It's kind of, you get what you get. They try to manage that expectation. Just natural human nature is, okay, new software means it's going to be better. And so that creates an unrealistic expectation, and you get to the end of your projects, and that's tough. I always tell customers that, I find if I'm comparing changing, a line of code or changing a human being, the line of code's always cheaper and more predictable. Right. Yeah. So especially
multiple human beings.
Yes, especially multiple human beings. Exactly right. So I like to solve business problems with software rather than telling people they need to change the way they run their business. I just find that to be a more successful path.
Right. And of course, there's also a risk, though, in assuming that you can fix a people problem with a software change, because you can't always do it.
Right.
And part of the point here is that business process transformation is you have to change how people behave, and you have to change how a lot of people behave in order to be successful. And that's a huge lift that doing the software change itself is not going to accomplish by itself.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a list of 8 hot tips here for how to prepare for a SaaS migration. So the first one is to build a bridge. So if you think about your current platform hosting 100% of your feature set, and your future platform, and maybe that's even just a reimplementation of PeopleSoft, that's a you got to have to get 100% of your features over into this new platform. So let's say we're going PeopleSoft to SaaS. That is a ton of effort, big arrow to shove all of that over there. The alternative is that before you go to that new platform, you start building this bridge. You start looking at, well, what tools and technology do I have available that are platform agnostic, that can go with me, that can connect to either of these platforms. So that can include, of course, our product GTE Forms. We're making a platform agnostic version of that. You've got digital assistants, you've got robotic process automation. These are all ones that are favorites of ours because we have practices in those areas, but there are many others. You can start looking at saying, maybe some of our custom applications, we want to start building in tools that can connect to both PeopleSoft and, let's say Oracle Cloud Apps is the future platform. So maybe I always get the acronym wrong. Is it VBCS?
Visual Builder Cloud Services. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Visual Builder Cloud Services. A PaaS platform that
it's like app designer in the cloud, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And that will work, won't go away when PeopleSoft goes away. You can the poor man's version of that can be. We were just talking with a client about who's in the middle of this of a SaaS project, who's starting to get a real feel for, wow, how much custom stuff do we have, and what are we going to do with it? Where are we going to put it? A cheap version is, well, you're still going to have a license to Interaction Hub, and maybe you move some of your customizations there, and then let it talk over APIs to your SaaS. You got to be thinking creatively about how are you going to build this bridge so that when you actually do this migration, there's less to move. And specifically, hopefully the custom stuff that you've built gets preserved. And that's the stuff that's the hardest. It's the 40% that's the hardest to move and to find a home for in the new platform.
Just one thing I'd add to this, if you have some inclination of what the future platform is, that should probably feed into your decision-making process about the bridge. For example, let's say you need to build a bolt-on to HCM, and your candidates are ServiceNow and VBCS. Mm-hmm. Well, if your future platform is HCM Cloud, by using VBCS, you're going to get inherently native ability to commingle data, warehouse, report, analytic on that data, be able to share the same security model. There's a lot of benefits. You probably want to go VBCS. Whereas if you go ServiceNow, you're a little bit on an island, and then you're going to have to redo the API work between the two platforms.
So right now, maybe, that seems like maybe it's turning into, Andrew, a suggestion to pick your target platform far in advance
earlier
of your project.
It's not a commitment, but
right. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so a few of these platform agnostic tools, conversational AI, of course, this is Andrew's bailiwick, but investing in growing AI that if you use, for example, ODA, and again, this is back to Andrew's previous point, use ODA, an ODA-based product, then that can go with you to Oracle Cloud Apps. It may not be as easy to take with you to Workday. So you have to kind of be thinking about that tool set, but investments in those areas, if you do it right, can have staying power and can carry forward.
And the flip side of that is, let's say you're like, oh, well, we'll just do our bot in ServiceNow. Well, you'll soon find out that you can't put the ServiceNow bot inside HCM Cloud.
Right.
So people won't have help at their fingertips. So there's some nuances there that you need to consider when making this planning, and picking that future platform early, or at least focusing on it, will help.
Yes, you bet. Charlie Benson asked, does everyone have Interaction Hub license in addition to their product?
Yeah, there's a free version that everyone's entitled to. Yes, that's what Cloud Manager is actually also running on. Same kind of thing. Yep.
So yes, you have it, and you can run it separately, and you can run it forever.
We have clients who are running it in Oracle Cloud in OCI, where their HCM, for example, is on premise. That's not a problem either.
Yeah, there you go. So you can get off prem and still have a PeopleSoft, still run PeopleTools applications. Okay, robotic process automation. If you're not familiar with that, look into it. A big wave of the present and the future, and a platform agnostic tool, one that can help to communicate between disparate online tools. Process automation and configuration based UI. That can be, like our eForms product. There are other products you can use to do automation that are not necessarily platform specific. Investing in data aggregation, BI, visualization, analytics. These are also tools that you can build expertise in that can go with you. And I left out one update to this slide here, saying if you don't have a place for your custom functionality to go, you're not ready to go yet. You got to have a plan. And if the reason that you're leaving, or if one of those reasons is that you're afraid of support ending, which is that's a really long range fear, by the way. We've got a rolling 10-year commitment from Oracle on PeopleSoft. But if your fears are way out at the end of that, reduce your dependency on the platform. Invest, and it'll help prepare you for the migration when you actually do it.